Senator Ludlam, sorry.
I'll be brief because I realise other people have been very patient. My final set of questions, just around remote Aboriginal communities. I'm a representative from WA. I don't know if you've had time to come out west yet, but you'd be very welcome. Communities ranging from a few dozen people up to a few hundred, and in some instances, 1,000 or more, with populations that are quite mobile. Very, very long way from the hardline footprint, and probably a long way from any of your wireless towers. Can you just tell us what kind of product, given that you're further down the line of the satellite rollout than probably the fixed fibre or fibre to the node footprint, what news can you give me to take back to Western Australia or Central Australian Aboriginal communities about the kind of products that you can tailor specifically to them?
Greg, do you have any detail on the rollout for WA?
Not just WA, but that whole Central Australian footprint. Completely different kind of market.
About the remote satellite footprint and the product services. So again, it would be more into the sort of product construct around the strategic review and the long-term satellite 25/5 product.
Perhaps what I can offer is that with the interim satellite service that went up, as far as those people that qualify for that, as you heard the chair say earlier, 45,000 customers are already using that service. Because of the capacity limitations of that, we are not selling that anymore. There is just no more capacity. If we were to add customers, it would degrade the service even more.
Yep.
Therefore, the relief from that comes out of the strategic review. If all of the recommendations are adopted by government, then we will, of course, move forward with the long-term satellite solution, and they can expect to see some relief in that early 2016 timeframe.
Early 2016, so helps maybe on its way. I don't know whether to put this to you, Senator Fifield, because you'll immediately hit an element of market failure. You're not going to find yourself overrun with RSPs falling over each other to provide a retail service to a community 1,000 kilometres from the nearest sealed road. So who's going to provide retail services to places like Warburton and Jigalong? And is that going to be left to the market, or Senator Fifield, I guess looking to you, is there a public policy answer here somewhere as well?
Look, I'm happy to leave it to officers at the table to...
You can if you like. We'll see what they have, but they're not retailers. Their customers are retail service providers, most of them metro-based.
Mr. Simon, do you have any information about RSPs that are interested in serving these areas?
So we do have RSPs that do provide facilities and well set up areas in remote. Now clearly part of this is the migration from ISS to long-term, but also the additional capacity that will be opened up for new customers. And we clearly recognise one of the things we have to do with the industry is make sure that we galvanise and build up their implementation resources. Part of the discussion we're having with them is the cost of installations, what are those price points, but also what about remote installation. So exactly what you're talking about. So there's an awareness that we will have to be able to create a remote installation capability to be able to go out and install and suit for these and solve for these areas. And I believe that while traditionally RSPs have not always serviced these areas, if we are able to, with the capacity that's coming on board, there'll be a far more viable case for them to provide that. So I'm confident over the next 12 months as we enter into finalisation of both the product constructs and also gearing up the industry for taking on the orders, we will find solutions for all of these areas.
Do you think this is something the market can solve by itself? I still struggle to imagine.
It may not. It may be that we have to look at creating some central capability to be able to find an alternate type of RSP, the non-traditional RSP, to provide service. I think that's one of the elements that we'll have to look at.
Okay, and is that something that you think it's NBN Co's job to
we have the beams. We have beams that cover those areas. We want to make sure those beams are used. We want to optimise the assets and get the best commercial return that's possible. So to do that, we need to get end users connected, and they need it to be connected for a service provider.
Okay. Have you had any contact with the Indigenous Remote Communications Association? Does that ring a bell?
I personally haven't, but that doesn't mean NBN Co hasn't. I can check that, take that on notice.
if you could take that on notice, and if you discover that you've not spoken to them, can I propose to put them on your call list?
Sure.
Met with them this afternoon. They've got some very innovative ideas, for example, for Wi-Fi mesh installations on communities, as I say, 300 or 400 people, that allow, because of course very, very poor non-existent mobile cell coverage as well. You guys can be a very, very big part of the solution for communities for which telecommunications, you know, can make a massive difference. If you've not
More
been
than
in
happy
touch
to
with
speak
them,
to them.
very much appreciated. Just lastly, and I know I'm probably testing the patience of the chair
Yeah,
here.
there's number 2 question, yeah.
Last and second last, yeah, you're on to me.
Yeah.
You're still trialling fibre to the node configurations, and I don't know that anybody's asked that yet. If you have,
Yes, they have.
Yes.
how's that going? Is that all on the transcript?
That's all.
Mr Adcock?
It's going great.
Very well asked and very well answered.
Do you want to
Just give us a 10-second summary before the chair kicks me out of the room.
The 10-second summary is the
The chair's quite entitled, but
Moving on.
the pilot in your minor. The 11 nodes are stood and powered. We have agreement as of last week with Telstra to access the spare copper pairs, and we'll be in the process of working with RSPs to get trial customers over in the coming weeks.
All right. When can members of the public
Last
expect
question,
to see?
Senator Ludlam.
Yeah, that's fair enough. When can we expect to see some published results of how well that's working out?
As I said, we'll get some trial customers over in the coming weeks, and then we'll publish results accordingly. We declared the results earlier of the FTTB trials, where we're experiencing on average 106 down and about 47 up consistently.
Somewhat more interested in the fibre of the node trials, but we'll come back to you maybe the next.
Okay, thank you,
For
Senator
sure.
Ludlam.